in the scenario of our country, where ultimately our children have to get into that kind of rat race of appearing entrance examination, let it be NEET, let it be joint entrance examination, or whatever it is. So ultimately, they have to get into that grinding of what you call the examination and get into some kind of career. So if we don't prepare them from now, do you think that they will be able to face it at that time when it is needed?
We should prepare them, but there has to be a lot of hard work from the teacher's side. Because if you are just giving them repetitive work, the time where they could have used to learn more concepts or do something else for their self-development, if it is going in meaningless repetitive work, then I think it is unfair for the children.
Unfair. Hello and welcome to my podcast, The Healing. Before we move on to our next episode of the podcast, let me thank you from the core of my heart for appreciating and liking our previous episode with Dr. Pedavir Rajgaru. I would like to request you to kindly subscribe to the podcast so that you get updated about our recent videos, and more importantly, that is an encouragement for us to bring you more stories that will be encouraging and also be interesting. Today, we have with us a personality who is a symbol of resilience and perseverance. He is a uh, person with multiple talents. He has been an administrator for the school, the Sivasivani in Visakhapatnam. He has been nurturing the students to become the future generations of this country. Apart from that, he is a great sports person, being an administrator in Carom and being a great Carom player. He also has been uh, basketball player and also a cricket player. More importantly, the story that is going to be interesting and also most inspiring part of his life journey is the resilience and the never say die attitude that he has shown while fighting COVID-19. So I welcome Dr. Neeraj Sampati with us. Hello, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Fuman. It's a pleasure being here with you today.
How is life?
Life is good. Everything is fine. Things are going well, both professionally and personally. And you can see my health is much better, and I'm almost normal compared to what I was a few years ago.
I'm so happy to actually see you, and I'm very much what you call I am like thrilled to have you with us in our podcast, because I think after your journey, right from your childhood till the present day, it's going to inspire many people, and that's what my aim is to bring out to everyone. So you basically studied in Hyderabad, right?
Yes, I studied in
The Sivasivani High School.
it was founded by my parents, late Sri S.P. Sampati and my mother Arati Sampati. So till I completed my secondary school, after 12th class, I was in the same school.
Up to 12th class.
Up to 12th class.
So that was a boarding school, I believe.
It was a boarding school.
But you were staying inside near your house
Yes,
was
my
also
house
inside
was
the campus.
always in the campus, and it was like most of the time I would be in the boarding with my friends, and very little time at home. That was all.
So how was the bonding with your friends during these those times?
I had absolutely wonderful set of friends. We had a great time, especially in the hostel, and more importantly on the sports field. We Most of us are still in touch, and whenever we recall those days, I mean, it is fantastic.
In fact, I also stayed in hostel right from class 6 to class 12. What I believe is that the time like class 6 to class 12 is time when we are kind of in a cell created by our parents, and during that time we were outside uh, being with our friends, and that gives a different kind of perspective to the life, though you were like still with your parents, but majority of the time you were in the hostel with your friends. That's what your friends, I've spoken to few of your friends, and that's what they told me. So your parents were the founders of the
Yes.
so did it make any difference of the faculties or the other teachers or other students that he's the son of the founder? You getting some kind of more preference, or you were under some kind of scrutiny always?
Honestly speaking, there was absolutely nothing like that. I was just like any other student, and there was my parents ensured that I would never get any preferential treatment, and same with the faculty.
That's really good actually, because I have seen many of the school administrators, or they don't teach their children in the same school, saying that if we teach them here, then their children will get more preference. We don't want that, and that's why they teach them in another school.
I
But
don't know why people think like that, but as far as my parents and my father was a math teacher. He taught us algebra and geometry in class 10. He was a terror in school as far as discipline was concerned because he was from a police background, very particular about discipline. But in the class, it was so lively, so enjoyable. We used to look forward to his classes.
so algebra must have been very easy for you.
I will put it this way: it was very enjoyable studying under him.
So algebra, do you as a now you're a teacher, you're having a school and as administrator. Do you think the algebra that is taught in the schools, how it is useful? How do you link it to be useful to the person in his future?
The things have become so complex now. You need to have so many advanced scientific calculations. You need to figure out so many things to be able to do big things as far as the science field is concerned. I'm not exactly sure where the algebra fits in, but one thing I definitely know, the maths and science these days is much, much more complex than what we learned in school.
I'll tell you one actually nice thing which I observed when I was teaching my son. So I was very bad in mathematics. That is why I entered into medicine. And recently I was teaching my son, so I had to study algebra completely from scratch and then teach him. One thing I realized is that algebra will make us or help us to make complex things simple.
Right.
So algebra will help us to make the common. It will, maybe we may not be using those factorization thing in the future, but it will tell us ki in your life if you have a problem like this, you need to factorize it, and then the problem will be sorted out. So that was my implication of algebra, uses of algebra in the future. That's what I feel. So uh, when did you decide to be a doctor?
I think right from my days in high school, there was no special uh, liking for me to be a doctor, but there was a talk in the family that one of the family members should be a doctor, and they were looking at me to be the person, and I was like,
It's like
fine,
यही
because
यही है यही
I,
हमारा
I did not have anything else in my mind at that time. Then I thought, fine, I will pursue it and see where it takes me.
so
There was no pressure as such,
okay.
but because it was suggested to me, I
Yeah, those times also we were all dependent on our parents to think like either. In fact, we used to see only two lines. One is either medicine or engineering, and so our parents suppose more preference is there for medicine. Okay, chalo, you study medicine. So you studied MBBS where?
I studied in Gandhi Medical College, Hyderabad.
Acha, Hyderabad, yeah, Gandhi Medical College. So how was your college life?
It was wonderful. Most of the things outside the classroom, but I was a reasonably good student. I won't say I was among the better half, but I did reasonably well. It was fascinating learning so many subjects, and we had some wonderful teachers. But somewhere down the line, maybe by the time I entered my third year or probably fourth year, I decided probably this is not the field for me. I am not suited for this field.
Why? Any particular incident that incited that thought inside
It
into you?
wasn't an incident, but maybe I was too sensitive, and there were so many things like when you're talking about diagnosis, as a doctor, you would know the etiology. You look at so many causes, and finally, in the end, you see 5 to 10% unknown cause. That used to
Idiopathy.
that used to trouble me a lot, and that was one of the factors. The other thing was I definitely was not suited for.
You didn't feel connected, kind of.
No, no.
But you completed the.
I completed it. It is my habit. Once I enter into something, I do it sincerely and thoroughly. I completed my medicine, but I was looking at alternative avenues even before I completed medicine. I explored.
So what other avenues you thought of?
I explored some other businesses, textile industry. I
Really?
explored sheep rearing. I remember 2 or 3 projects we studied.
Then how did you end up into being a educationist?
Yeah, then uh, just when I was completing my medicine, there was a proposal to set up a school in Visakhapatnam. And then they were looking at somebody from the family who could be there to set it up because a lot of work is required initially, and a physical presence is a must. I looked at this as an opportunity and I volunteered for it. I always was interested in literature, not really teaching, but in the school administration, because as we grow up in the family,
You
you
have seen
listen to
that.
so many things happening and being discussed about the school, and you yourself being in that school.
Your childhood was kind of an internship
Yes,
for this.
you relate to a lot of things.
School.
We had this wonderful atmosphere at home. Every day evening around 5:30, the whole family used to sit out in the garden, talk, chat, discuss about different things, and especially my father used to recall various anecdotes from his experience in the police field and in the school. And from then, there it was like straight to the dinner table around 6:30. So we had this habit for many years. We used to have dinner by 6:30,
Okay.
and I don't remember being awake after 8:39 till I reached my high school.
Okay.
So
So
in
early
that
sleeping
atmosphere, we
is.
would have imbibed a lot of things consciously and unconsciously.
Yes.
And the moment an opportunity presented itself, I thought I will make the shift.
So for immediately after your MBBS, you joined into this
Yes.
business. So do you think your MBBS studies that helped you to kind of get into the administration of school, that like diagnosing a disease and diagnosing the problems of the students of the school, does it correlate anywhere?
Uh, The area where this helped me most was in an approach to a problem. Like in medicine, we approach a problem very methodically. Look at the symptoms, look at the history, then look at the differential diagnosis, and then pinpoint something, and then get into the treatment, whatever is supposed to be done according to your diagnosis. Like in school, it helps me when I look at things systematically. Whenever there's an issue, you look at what is happening, what could be the probable reasons, what are the range of solutions possible, and then what would ideally suit the situation in hand. Implement it, observe it.
Process is same.
Process is similar. Right?
So does your anytime you remember that your medical education has helped you bringing out a creative solution to a problem in the school?
But creative solution, I don't know. But what it helped me was when you see a problem of a big magnitude, you don't panic and you know how to handle it if you go about it methodically.
There is a saying in in medicine, if you take the history properly, the patient will tell you the diagnosis. So
Right.
it is quite similar in your yeah also that if you go methodically in your process, so you know the problem and you can solve
And
it.
then the lot of common sense will be applied.
Right. So anything you miss practicing medicine, or any day you thought when you are in the school business, any day you thought that why I got into it, or you miss practicing medicine, you ever missed it?
I don't really miss because I was never into practice. The moment I completed my education, I straight away joined the school. But yeah, some things which I can say relate to is you miss that instant gratification.
Okay.
So imagine you're in like in the casualty ward. Somebody comes with an injury or something. You immediately do something. The situation is solved, or you help the patient immediately. So there's instant gratification for you that you've completed your job, you've done something well. But here it's a long process.
So
In a
your
school,
is your process is like mine. Like I see my patients when they come for the follow up, I see the happiness. I remember the first day when we discussed with them that they come with the fear of cancer and all that, and we discuss about that. And after 3 years, 4 years, when they come for the follow up, I remember that first day.
oh,
And in fact, I believe your school is also quite same way. When your student comes back after getting some good rank in some entrance examination or being a IAS officer or something like that, you must be feeling that kind of happiness.
yeah, you're right. Because sometimes when children come, if they come with a poor academic record, generally if we give them some time to settle down, build up their confidence, and slowly they start showing interest and doing well in academics. And these children, when they pass out and they become achievers later in life, and they can come back and tell you, we remember all those things you have done for us, the extra care which was taken, all those things which helped us. It makes you feel very good.
Yeah, and in fact, the first teachers are always they will have a special place in the heart.
Anybody, I think, whether it is you, me, or anybody, for them, school life is probably the best time of their life.
So if I would call you for a TED Talk kind of thing, then I would name it lesson from medicine applied to education.
Mm, maybe you should say doctor's experience in education.
Yeah, that sounds good. So when you thought of kind of changing to education, so did your family react to it or they were happy? Did they think that if you are going through a midlife crisis kind of thing, you want
No,
to
no, no,
change?
absolutely not. They were very supportive, and it was not like I was going to set up a new school for somebody else.
Yeah.
My family has already been running schools, and I'm going to be a part of the school which they are setting up. That probably made things a lot easier, but there was never any sort of regret or any disappointment as far as my parents were concerned.
In fact, there is a saying: if you are in the crossroads, you have to trust your instincts.
Right. I
And
believe that.
I think one thing I always believe is that never regret on your decisions. So
I agree totally.
completely, like if it is right, it's right. If it is wrong, it's okay. We learn from it. So, what is the vision of your school when you started the school? What was there in your mind as a vision?
For the school, basically, uh, most of the ideas were an extension of what my parents used to do in school. So we wanted to have a place where we were trying for academic excellence and also for character building.
Okay.
And I think it is very important that any successful person, whether if he's an academician or whatever profession he chooses, he has to be a good human being. Otherwise, success doesn't have too much meaning.
That's correct. In fact, that basically reflects in our day-to-day life also. So, so you said about education and character building. So basically, one nice thing. Last time I did a podcast, and my guest once told that in the present schools, morality is not being taught. Reason being, he gave a very nice reason. The parents think that morality has to be taught in the school, and there is no curriculum in the syllabus. So the teacher thinks that I have to complete the syllabus, and they don't have anything to teach the morality to the student. What is good, what is bad, and all that. So basically, what was there in the earlier days, our parents used to have more time with us. Our teachers used to have more time with us, and they used to teach us this is right, this is wrong. You should not tell lies. So those part is missing today. What is your take on that?
I agree. It's a very important aspect of the school, in the school and school life. Uh, School is a place of learning, not merely a place of accumulating knowledge. Uh, Jiddu Krishnamurti's philosophy. I believe that, and the learning includes the overall package, the academics, the co-curricular activities, the sports activities, activities where you need teamwork, where you need coordination, and where you uh, especially develop character building, even more so on the sports field. And when you're talking about moral science, we give a lot of importance to moral science and life skills. Long before this new education policy uh, came out, focusing more on other aspects in addition to the academics, the holistic education. Many schools were doing that earlier, and because I believe strongly in that, I have moral science and life skills period in the regular curriculum for the students, and I have teachers who specifically prepare for these topics.
Right.
And we've been teaching children a lot of things. Some simple things like swinging a button, changing a
That you
fuse,
teach them?
simple carpentry stuff,
Oh, great.
and how to make salads at home, how to be helpful at home, things like that. A lot of skills which children need if they have to be independent.
Usually, all the schools don't have these things in their classroom.
It all depends on the school management
Manager.
or the principal, the way they feel about this, how important they feel it is. So only when you feel it is important, you will make time for these things.
In fact, nowadays, I believe the because of the social media, because of the so-called pressure of the social media for the parents, for the teachers, for the schools, more focus is on how to do something, take a photo, post it in the social media, and advertise and tell people that we are doing that rather than actually doing something. What is your take on that?
We have to have a balance between both. If you are taking a picture and sharing, you actually should have undertaken the activity. Otherwise, the whole activity is meaningless.
Meaningless.
But if you do the activity and if it doesn't reach the people involved or people concerned, if the parents don't know what is going on in school, even then
That is also
it will
important.
not be a successful thing.
They won't.
So
What is not seen is not done.
yeah. So we need to do the activities and we have to have a balance between the activity and how it is projected.
How do you think the approach of the parents have changed in the last decade of time uh, towards their education or towards the school? How to, like, nowadays I see many parents, they are like more conscious. Don't give pressure on my son. Don't give these homeworks and like that. Many stuff are there. So how do you feel? Do you face anything like that?
We have two extremes here. One is those international schools or the schools which are very liberal, where they mm, have these limitations on homework and the amount of work to be given to children. On the other hand, we have this tutorial type of schools where it is work, work, work all the time. So obviously, anything which is done in excess is bad. You cannot be too liberal, you cannot be too strict, you have to find a moderate path.
But in the scenario of our country, where ultimately our children have to get into that kind of rat race of appearing entrance examination, let it be NEET, let it be joint entrance examination or whatever it is. So ultimately they have to get into that grinding of what you call the examination and get into some kind of career. So if we don't prepare them from now, do you think that they will be able to face it at that time when it is needed?
I don't mean to say we should not prepare them. We should prepare them, but there has to be a lot of hard work from the teacher's side. Because if you're just giving them repetitive work, the time where they could have used to learn more concepts or do something else for their self-development, if it is going in meaningless repetitive work, then I think it is unfair for the children.
Unfair. In fact, children are completely, they have a kind of a very nascent mind. And
They do whatever teachers tell them.
yes, yes. My daughter says, like, if I tell that, no, this is wrong, she will tell, no, my teacher has told this is right, so this is right. So, teacher is something like they will follow blindly. So, definitely those things are important. But again, see, my wife is also a teacher. But I see nowadays the teachers also get a lot of pressure, like pressure in the sense, lot of work they have to do. It's not the earlier days when the teacher goes and just teaches from the books or something like that. They have to prepare the PowerPoint presentations. They have to also correct the answer sheets, correct the things. Then they have to prepare a lot of things. Like I sometimes tell my wife works more than me.
No, you're right. There is pressure because of the competition. Schools obviously would want to satisfy the parents whose children are studying there, and there are a lot of expectations from schools. One,
And that is the difficult part you said, that satisfying the parents. Sometimes I always feel the parents are being too kind of, they're like, I need this, I need that, why this doesn't happen, my son is not eating food. How much the teacher can see
it's more than that. In addition to teaching, there are other responsibilities
Yes,
also on
yes,
teachers now. Earlier in our generation, if there were some simple things which teachers committed to do or something, parents would have ignored it or probably
Exactly.
children wouldn't have bothered so much. But now it's like if you're teaching a child in first grade or second grade, you'll get parents walking to the office with a call, getting the notebook saying that, look at this notebook. My child is not maintaining a finger space between words, and teacher has not done anything about it. So parents come up. I mean, some of them are so anxious. Probably you can't find
Yes,
fault with them. Also, they don't know which areas to concentrate more and where to give
so
some.
basically, there are two aspects to it. One is the child has to be taught at school, and also the child has to be taught at in the house. And definitely, there is a change in the education system. Many teachers may be adjusting or not adjusting. But another thing that I always feel is that even the time that is the parents give to the children, that is
That is a big factor.
big,
Very big factor.
big factor. So that also makes a lot of difference.
Absolutely.
Because expecting that everything will be done by the school or everything will be taught by the teacher, it's something that is not fair also, even for the child.
Uh, there are some parents who micromanage things, which is also very difficult. And there are some parents who are like, the child is going to school, let them deal with whatever is coming.
Exactly. Correct.
So, parent, I think we also need
Kind
to
of
take time to
individual.
explain to
Yeah.
parents where we require their involvement, because ultimately, unless the uh, management, teachers, parents, children, all of us work in the same direction, we are not
Yes.
going to get the result.
Yeah, it has to be teamwork. The
It has
outcome that we get from the child getting being a doctor or engineer is not just the parent or the school or the child. It's completely a teamwork that it has to be.
everybody has to be.
Any kind of innovative thing that you have seen from your teachers who has adopted and you liked it very much? You thought that why, how I did not think about it.
Innovative, yes, teachers keep surprising us every now and often with some new techniques, new methods of teaching. So we had a teacher teaching the maths with some relating to some Telugu concepts. We had a teacher teaching them maths through a song.
Oh,
That is, we're talking about middle school, not primary school. And
that's pretty interesting actually.
yeah, they really come up with a lot of ways.
And in fact, that makes a lot of difference. Many a time, my son's maths teacher was changed, and then he was like, "I don't want to go to the maths class. My previous teacher was good." And that also I could see in the exams that after the teacher changed, his interest towards mathematics completely drastically changed because he was getting attracted to where he was teaching, and suddenly the
I
teacher
know
was.
it's a very difficult thing for children when teachers change, but practically, if you look at the scenario, there are so many reasons for which teachers change.
Yes.
You have families shifting, you have one of the parents getting a promotion, shifting somewhere else, something else happening, and they're relocating, things like that. So, some things, fine, it's a part of the system.
How do you incorporate extracurricular activities in the school?
We do have designated periods for extracurricular activities, and most of our activities, I mean, we conduct inter-house competitions.
How many houses are?
We have 4 houses. Like, it's the same, I think, everywhere, red, blue,
Yeah,
green,
yeah,
and
red,
yellow.
blue, green. Cock house.
No, we
Big
have
house
names
there.
for the houses. We call our houses
No, who
by
is
the names of
performing
elements.
best? In our time, when the house which performs best is to get cock house.
Cock house, the overall cock. Yes.
Yes.
And that also, like, we have been following. In fact, this year we made a renewed push to make it even more interesting and exciting for students.
So you keep on trying some innovative ways to uh, include into your curriculum kind of thing to
Yes.
improve it.
Yes.
So do you do anything for the mental health? How important is mental health for the children?
Uh, yeah, we do have counselors. Well, of course, we don't have any outside professionals, but we have some senior teachers, experienced teachers who are designated as counselors, uh, especially for girls in the middle and high school, and also for the boys. And they deal with a lot of issues which children face, both at school and at home. and we do our best within our limitations.
Yeah, a lot of limitations.
Whatever counseling we can do with the students and sometimes with the parents, we try to help them in the best possible way.
There should be, I sometimes feel there should be kind of uh, some person who has that one-on-one touch with all the students and assess the mental health issues with them, and that could help them. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it should, but with the number of students we have in our system in a classroom, around 35 to 40, it is not so easy.
Not easy. Not easy. Especially considering the population of India and the number of the teachers we have, it's not possible, in fact.
But whenever anything is flagged or whenever any issue comes
Yes,
up, we
that
try
time
to do our
actually,
best.
yeah, yeah. But maybe I feel there should be some steps to take it as a day-to-day basis kind of thing, like rather than waiting for some issue to happen.
Very difficult.
I understand. I understand that. So, any kind of your innovative things that you have seen with your students, someone has done, and it has really given you a kick that, oh my God, my student has done this.
Yeah, they come up with various ways to revise and present topics, the project works. Uh, some of them are really innovative. And then I've seen this system for revision in the class. One of my social studies teachers, I think, started it. When they're trying to revise a topic, they divide the children into three groups. There's a quiz session.
Okay.
Questions are formed by the students. So one group questions the other group. So that means the child who is questioning will try to find out something which is very difficult for the other
For the
child.
other group.
During the process, he learns more and more. And the child is answering, he also knows something difficult. He'll be required to answer difficult
Correct.
questions. So he'll also study more. So that way, it's I found that
That's a very
extremely
innovative way.
beneficial.
In fact, all the many of this audience who are into the schools and all can, and teachers, in
Yeah,
fact,
generally, it's a
they can
teacher who
try.
gives the
Yes, they can
questions
do
or
that.
there's some question bank, but when you make the children do it,
Many of the schools do, I think. In fact, my people there, my son had they had some debate about something. They will give them, and three groups will be there. They will be discussing and telling the positive points, negative points.
yeah,
So,
debates, yeah, that's a different aspect, but I'm talking about routine revision.
correct. That's definitely a interesting thing. Anything that you think that the present education system, then now it's kind of changing. So, like we are getting into the digital boards, we are getting into more of innovation or artificial intelligence. Do you think it will change the total education system kind of thing, or can
My
we?
school was one of the first schools to introduce smart boards in Vishakhapatnam, and we have the latest interactive TV screens for the children. Extremely useful tools for children, and I think going forward, we will have to adopt this hybrid technology, teaching in school, and also some sort of instruction or testing at home with the children. We need to have a mix of both.
Okay.
The online classes, the online testing, and also the regular interaction in school. Because once we started using this online systems for education during the COVID period,
That has brought
it's
a
very
lot of
difficult to
change.
give it up because there are so many advantages there,
Advantage.
and we don't want to give it up totally. So ultimately, I think it will be a hybrid mode of education.
COVID has given us a lot of positive things also, and this is one of them.
One of them.
One of them. And another negative thing I'll take from this was children getting access and addicted to the mobile phones. That's also to a lot extent COVID is responsible.
COVID is responsible, and to some extent, I think we as adults, we also are responsible for that.
We are responsible. It's sometimes I tell my son that even we adults feel like watching those things, so those media, what you call those reels and shorts and all, and you guys are those children. So it's
I know,
difficult.
but it's difficult for children to what is have self-control.
Yes.
So when to use and when not to use and
Well,
how much time to use.
but I think there should be some kind of rules in the kind of not rules. It's had to be implemented at home by the parents to limit it to this particular time, and we cannot stop it completely.
We don't know how it can be done, but some effort has to be made because it's becoming a very big problem. I see parents coming with young children, 3-year-old, 4-year-olds at the time of admission. And if they have to leave the children to talk for a minute with somebody, without giving the phone to the child, they cannot move out of that place. And I've seen so many children when if you go to some functions, whether it's a marriage function or any other get together, look at the kids there. Half of them, or more than half, are having mobiles in their hands.
So it's like addiction to distraction is killing the creativity.
It is. I think long run, definitely anything excessive will affect you adversely.
I don't know what's the way forward.
But the problem is your education is also linked to that.
Yes,
It's not just entertainment and wasting of time because a lot of educational stuff and lot of very useful stuff.
Very useful stuff.
You need the mobile for that.
Nowadays, they are having even in our time it was not there in medicine. They have some YouTube videos. They have something called as Marrow. People are subscribing, and those Marrow thing. They are like everything. They're not studying. Many of the children they're not studying the Harrison book anymore.
Oh,
They are following that Marrow, which is giving everything in detail. They are making notes out of it, and they're studying. And MBBS study, you just imagine we read that 3,000 page book during that time, and they are now following these digital things.
but I think YouTube is probably the greatest tool ever, which was made for the most useful tool ever made.
Yeah, it's in fact a double-edged sword which has positive and negative. It has to have a proper balance. And I don't know schools or teachers, parents, how they are going to balance it in future.
But we lean heavily on YouTube videos when
Yes.
we are trying to explain
Yes.
concepts. When my teachers are trying to, I mean, engage children with some interesting
In
stuff.
fact, it's thanks to YouTube that we are bringing your story to the to the people. So, in your school, how do you give importance to sports?
We have very limited resources for sports, but we promote 3 games: basketball, table tennis, and carom.
Okay.
And
Because of the lack of space for football and all.
yes, so we have identified these 3 sports which we can promote. And yeah, we have had some very good sportsmen coming out and very good results as far as very good achievements.
Any achievers that you remember? I think one girl is into the cricket team.
Yeah, you're talking about Shabnam.
Sabnam.
Yes. He is an outstanding sports person.
She is now in the Indian cricket team, I believe.
She's in the India A team now.
India A team now. Oh, great.
So she was part of the women's T20 World Cup winning team. Then she is now last time she was representing Gujarat Titans in the league. No, I don't know where she is right now, but recently she is into the Indian 18, India 18.
India, yeah. Because we, from our Vizag runners, actually, our Mr. Rai also had gone and congratulated her. In fact, we had also discussed about supporting her for her cricket also during that time.
She's done outstandingly well. And one of my students, he is in 9th class now. One boy called Chaitanya. He is selected for the youth Winter Olympics, which is to be conducted in 26 in China.
Which sports?
He is into break dancing.
Break dancing. Okay.
That's just now been added as a new discipline in the Olympics.
Oh, okay. So
It's very exciting.
you have carom as a sports.
Yeah,
You encourage carom because
we do.
and you love playing carom, right?
I'm very passionate about playing carom, about promoting carom.
How did you get into carom? When did you start playing carom?
Right from my childhood, we used to play carom at home. I used to play with my mother when I was very small.
I think your mother plays good.
I don't know. We just used to play at home, and slowly, it became a passion. And it was a carom for entertainment at home till sometime in my high school when somebody introduced me to competitive carom.
Okay. Competitive carom means?
Taking part in tournaments, playing matches at a competitive level in the clubs.
So you have kind of club, state,
Yeah,
national like that?
Hyderabad, we have many clubs where they play carom. And my very close friend, Jaydev, he started playing carom at a little later stage, but he was the one who introduced me to carom in clubs.
Okay.
And both of us became very passionate about carom. We played a lot, we learnt a lot, we did a lot of research. Right now, we're in the US, but very actively pursuing carom. And both of us have conducted a lot of tournaments together.
So you conduct the tournaments also, right?
We conducted some very big events in Visakhapatnam also.
I think Port Stadium 2009, huh? 11?
We conducted 4 national level events.
Okay.
And Swarna Bharati twice,
Okay.
and then in Officers Club once, and then recently in Geetam University.
Okay.
And we conduct a lot of leagues and other invitation tournaments. So whenever he visits India, it's like we organize an event and he likes to be a part of it. He was also the president of the United States Carom Association.
Okay.
Promoting carom there.
You're also one of the office bearers, I think, president now of
I am
the
the president of Andhra State Carom Association and
Andhra State Carom.
senior vice president of the All India Carom Federation.
Okay.
In fact, I visited US 6 times to take part in carom tournaments.
I think carom originated from India,
Yes.
but unfortunately, I am sure many of the viewers may not be knowing this, but carom originated from India, and we are proud that
It originated in India, and very recently I came to know it originated from the Andhra area.
Oh, really?
Yes. So we have
how come? What's the history basically? Can you just elaborate?
We have a very senior person who could say that he's called the father of carom, one Mr. Bangar Babu from Chennai. So he was the one who got carom to this international level, recognition to the international stage. So he was mentioning to me recently that carom actually originated from the Andhra area. We knew it was in India, but he told me that it is from the Andhra area.
So earlier also they had the same rules of having four.
Rules kept changing a little bit here and there, and when the federation was formed, I think they made the rules for the infrastructure, for the board, the dimensions, the playing conditions, and other playing rules.
So what's exactly a white slam and what's a black slam?
So carom, is a board game where there are 9 white pieces and 9 black pieces and a queen. They are all arranged in the center, and the game goes like this. If one person starts, you say you call it a break, and then after he finishes his turn, the other person plays, and whoever finishes, the person who starts has to clear all his white pieces. So when a person breaks and finishes all the 9 coins, including the queen, without giving a turn to the opponent, we call it a white slam.
Okay.
And if you miss your turn and your opponent gets turn, and in his first turn he clears all the 9 pieces
of black.
Black. It's called a black slam.
Black slam, including the queen.
It can be with or without the queen.
Okay. So queen needs to be the center point of the carom game. I remember when I was actually researching about you, I came across one post of like uh, when we get two coins at a time, there is a laugh. When we get three coins, it's high five. When we have four coins, it's a celebration. And you are talking about taking all the coins and taking a slap.
Oh, there are many, many accomplished carom players in our country. Millions of people play the game.
So before playing for a carom championship or a tournament, you completely have those strategies and you have to completely prepare for it.
Of course, like any other game, if you are taking part in big competitions, you need to have a lot of training. So I know players who practice for more than 10 hours a day leading up to the days to the tournament, and they are to be very disciplined. They get up early, they do their meditation, they do their breathing exercise, they do their yoga, then they
So
practice.
carom also needs all your physical endurance also.
It needs physical and more than physical, mental endurance. You need to be mentally very, very tough. Very few people know this about the game. There's a lot of strategy involved, and you need tremendous mental strength if you have to succeed at the
So
topmost level.
you can consider it like quite kind of tennis, like Novak Djokovic winning a match, even when Federer was in the match point in the, uh, I think 2019 Wimbledon.
Yeah, it happens all the time. So many upsets at the topmost level.
You remember anything in your tournaments you participated?
Uh, I remember one incident. This was, I think, World Championship or World Cup in the US. There was this player. This was the third game. He's almost won the match. So there is one piece left, and the opponent has almost 7 or 8 pieces. So he attempted for the first time. The striker did not even touch the coin. It just went from one side. And then the opponent still didn't have a position. He cleared 3, 4 points, and again, in the next turn, he tried again. It went somewhere else. He cleared some more coins. And again, third chance he missed, and the opponent cleared all the coins. That was a title. I'm talking about a title
Final
winning match.
match.
So, a match which we thought was already done, one person has already won it.
In tennis, like they say that you have to win, you have to play each and every point. The moment you think that you are playing for the match, you are going to lose your concentration.
Correct. So, till the last coin is spotted, you can't relax.
Correct. That's your playing tennis, sorry, playing carom helps in kind of strategizing or helping in your educational institution.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you're making here. There are a lot of psychology, sports psychology involved in carom, and there are many life lessons to be had on the carom board. If you really understand the game, like how you approach the game, what sort of form you are in, what sort of game your opponent is playing, and then how your opponent responds under pressure, how you respond under pressure. There are so many things, and the dynamics keep changing every so often. So you can, I would say, judge a person's character by the way he plays his game, by
Oh.
the way he makes his choices, especially in difficult times.
So in the same way, also we judge the person, maybe your student, your teachers, or parents. You also must be helping you in some way or the other.
Yeah, it helps us understand because sports psychology is a very interesting field, and incidentally, I've done a lot of study in this field. I even have a certificate in sports psychology, and I've done attended quite a number of workshops. There are many things where you can draw a parallel with what is happening with people in other fields.
So what you learned from your sports psychology, you use it in your school also.
Yes, there are many things which you can apply.
Any example you can?
Uh, example, how you focus on the process and not on the result.
Okay.
Especially when children are preparing for the exam. It's like from the beginning, generally a child is worried about what marks he is likely to get. We have to divert his focus and tell him to concentrate on the preparation. The result will take care of itself.
Correct.
So this is something which you need to keep telling them again and again.
When I teach my son mathematics, so many times, even many of the schools also, they don't emphasize on writing the formula a plus b whole square is equal to all that formula. If the student has to write it based on this formula, then you solve it. So initially he was not writing. I told him, no, it's not. I did it in my mind. No, nothing. You need to write it. That's the process. If you correct the process, then your answer will be correct. So very rightly said that that process that we have to teach them. So any future events that you are planning in Carom?
Carom, we have this dream of starting a proper professional carom league,
Like IPL kind of?
like something like IPL. There have been many plans earlier, and we have done it in small ways. But the federation is now keen on taking up this carom league.
So
And, they've entrusted me with the job of doing the research and background stuff.
with the Olympics around, do you think that Carom should also be a part of Olympics?
Definitely, that would be a dream come true for millions of people in India. And the best part of it would be India will be getting more medals in the Olympics if carom is introduced.
So as an administrator, do you feel you'll like to take up this one into the future programs?
It's a dream for all sports administrators, but we have a very dynamic president. He is a member of parliament from Congress. He recently spoken in the parliament about the recognition for the game of carom.
Who is?
He is Mr. Rakibul Hussain from
Okay.
Assam.
Okay.
So he is the president of the All India Carom Federation.
Really? Okay.
So if people like that involve themselves and take steps, and we were able to convince more people that this is something which is beneficial to the country and to millions of Indians, especially this is a game of the poor people.
Correct.
And to top it all, it's a traditional Indian game. All these factors, if they are
I
considered,
remember we used to play in our school time. It's very refreshing. And many a time we friends will be playing entire night.
Absolutely, it's very relaxing when you are playing, and
it's very competitive.
yeah, only today we have seen some news. The Indian badminton players, they're relaxing at the Paris Olympics. They're playing carom and relaxing. I also remember we visited once Mr. Gopi Chand's badminton academy in Hyderabad.
Right. Yeah.
And he said many of my players, when they're relaxing in the afternoon, they like to play carom.
Carom. So carom basically kind of relaxes your mind, and you are completely focused on that. One of my friend who is also a player of carom, he played US Open in that also, Mr. Sandeep, you must be knowing. So he was telling me that when I sit near the board, I kind of forget about everything. All my stress,
True, very true.
job, my family, I forget about everything. I just focus on the coins, and that gives me so much of relaxing environment. So that's really good. So carom is also like a kind of a song, right? Carom,
it is an art.
It's
It is
an
an art, and when somebody is in the zone and playing well, it is such a pleasure to watch.
And do you like ghazals and all? Do you like to hear ghazals when you are playing carom?
My most enjoyable time is when I am alone, playing by myself, practicing and playing some ghazals in the background. Some of the best times I have had. That's a lovely
Even
experience.
COVID also, carom used to be a great game for online gaming of.
Oh,
Carom,
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah,
And
that is a
COVID
new
time,
avenue.
most of the manufacturers ran out of stock
I heard that. I heard that.
because everybody wanted carom board at home.
So coming to the ghazals that you love, so how did you like the this genre of music?
Uh, I think it was because my father used to enjoy listening to ghazals. He was very proficient in Urdu and Persian also. And he used to explain to us when we were small meanings of some verses. And that got me very, very interested. And later on, as I progressed and as I went to college, I kept listening to more and more. There's one interesting thing I wanted to share with you. During my medicine days, I was driving a Maruti 800 to college, and there used to be place for only two people because my back seat and the boot space were all filled with cassettes. There was no CDs those days.
As
So hundreds of cassettes all there, and so that I can just pick up whatever I like and keep listening to it when I drive. I was very passionate, and being in Hyderabad, there were a lot of friends who had the same interest. So because we shared so many things, the interest kept on developing.
so, ghazals, who is your favorite artist?
Jagjeet Singh, I would say, without a doubt. I think most people who listen to ghazals would name him as a favorite artist because he has done so much wonderful work. And there is some special quality about his compositions, which is very relaxing, very appealing.
I think I remember the song from. He had very good few songs. Can you just
I think the first thing time when people noticed him was when they sang this Hoton Se Chulo Tum.
right? Hoठों से छू Exact.
And then later on, people were introduced to Pankaj Udas
Pankaj, I have attended his
concert.
concert once. Awesome, awesome. And when he sang that phenomenal song, Chitti Ai,
Oh,
oh my
it's an all-time
God,
favorite.
it was. And you will feel that vibe inside when he's singing live in front of you. When you're hearing in the music, it's a different thing. And when he was singing live, I remember I had tears.
Mhm.
Though I was not out of the country or something, but that song has some vibe kind of thing.
He was very special. I remember attending one concert, Pankaj Das performance in IIT Chennai. There was a college festival there, and he was invited to perform. It was an open air auditorium, and it was a magical evening. Wonderful.
So, do you think ghazals, listening to ghazals and all, it helps you relax and also helps you in your day-to-day work as an administrator?
I don't know as the administration thing, but ghazals, I mean, if you look at the poetry, the music, the mood it gets you into, and there's so many
Lot of emotion, lot of
philosophical.
emotions are. See, I feel that the genre of ghazals and other music basically, the main difference is emotion is attached to it.
And the poetry, some of the poetry is out of this world. Absolutely fascinating.
What was your favorite poetry? I mean, favorite kind of ghazal? Anything you can say? Best you like?
There was this ghazal which Pankaj Udhas sang, not a very popular ghazal, but this was this, Na samjho ke hum pee gaye peete peete. That was the ghazal. And for some reason, I love it. And incidentally, this was a ghazal which my father explained to me the meaning of this. And I don't know, maybe that's why it has a very special place for me.
Okay.
So I love that. And most of you would have heard Pankaj Das this ghazal. सबको मालूम है मैं शराबी नहीं. That's a very popular one. And there also, many people wouldn't even know the meaning, but they enjoy the rhythm, they enjoy the music.
It's a different feeling of attending his music programs, in fact. So, yeah, anywhere your love for ghazals, love for your carom, and your love for your sports and being an administrator, they intersected in
Yeah, I'll tell you there one more interesting thing. I did a lot of research in Karen, and I discovered many positions, many shots. I made a video, CD at that time, and the background songs were all ghazals, Jagjeet Singh ghazals. So I thought it was very enjoyable listening to ghazals and watching some beautiful Karen shots being played. And it was a very big hit. Uh, I remember specifically one comment from a European player. So he was like, "This CD looks so good, the shot looks so good, but what is this nonsense playing in the background? Every time I want to watch it, I need to mute it."
Acha. So he doesn't like this sound.
They don't know anything.
They don't know
They don't
anything about it.
understand, of course. But yeah, because I had this passion for ghazals and for the game. That is one place where both of these came together.
Came to that.
And I made this CD with ghazals playing in the background.
That's lovely. So now coming to your episode of the life-changing episode of COVID you had, and it was in the second wave, I believe.
Second wave.
Second wave, and uh, how was the what were the initial things, and how you ended up in the hospital?
I think it was in somewhere April 2021.
It was 21. Yeah,
21.
21.
21. Uh, I had a mild attack initially, for both me and my wife Preeti. And in fact, initially I was sharing advice with my friends that this is what I am doing. Probably you should also do something like this in case you have symptoms. And I was very confident that it's something very light and I mean, it will be over in a few days. But one morning, sometime on 27th, I think, 27th April, my symptoms worsened. One thing I have to mention here, I have a very close friend, my colleague, Dr. Bharat Reddy.
Bharat Reddy, I spoke to him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was the one who was
guiding you.
telling me, like, whether you need it or not, keep an oxygen cylinder ready, keep some emergency medicines ready. I didn't want to say no to him, and we had arranged for a cylinder. And I think that was the thing which saved me. 27, suddenly in 2 or 3 hours, my condition became very bad. I was
In
struggling.
fact, that was like the COVID virus was deciding who will live or who will die.
I think so.
And
Because of that cylinder, I think I survived till I could reach the hospital. I could get a bed sometime in the
yeah,
towards the
it was
evening
difficult to get a
in
bed also
Indus
at that.
hospital.
Yes.
One of my friends, Mr. Ahmed Ali, so he used his influence to get me a bed there. So after I joined there, things became worse, and I know it was getting worse.
So in the Indus hospital, you felt that you're getting worse.
Yeah, things were becoming going from bad to worse, and of course, all the time I was consulting. I was in touch with Dr. Bharat Reddy and another friend, Dr. Manjula from Hyderabad. They were guiding me. In fact, they were even interacting with the doctors here. And my wife, Preeti, she was with me all the time. Uh, Very courageous because she was with me in the COVID ward, taking care of things there. Things we know were going downhill, and we were looking at the ECMO machine.
Yeah, I think so. Your brother also had some lung issue before
Yes, he had a couple of years ago.
swine flu or something. He was in
Yes,
flu and he was also on
he was also in ECMO and he was
ECMO and
for quite a long
maybe
time.
there is some genetic thing you need to look for.
Could be, and maybe it's a miracle that in a family two brothers came out
So,
after from ECMO stage.
in fact, I remember how I came to know about your health was Madam suddenly called me. And that time, if I get a call from someone after a long period of time, that it was like for a Dr. Suman, any bed is available. Then I came to know that you are ill, and she asked me, so like this, you are in Indus hospital, and uh, we are looking for ECMO machine and all. Then I asked my friends here, and they told that was not available. I think one ECMO was there in Apollo, but that was being used for a patient. And then I told no, madam. And after that, again, I followed up that you have been airlifted.
Yeah, so Preeti contacted a family friend in Hyderabad who is also a doctor, Dr. Anand, and immediately he could manage to get us an air ambulance and the ECMO. And again here ECMO, my friend Jaydev from US, he had a part to play because we need a specialist a cardiologist who is trained in the installation process, how to set up the ECMO. And he got this recommendation, like he was asked by my friend because they had some other connection and he prevailed on him to come and take up my case. So everything like magically fell in place at the right time. We got the air ambulance in the right time. Of course, there was a tremendous hassle getting a ambulance for me to be shifted from the hospital to the airport. But
So it was
it's
like everything.
something I will, I don't know how to put it in words, but Preeti managed this all on her own. So
I
many
believe,
clearances to be
I
done.
believe she was like in our mythology we read about Savitri and
I
who
would say
who
probably that is also a mild term.
and
The way she has been through this
I
whole
know.
episode,
Mm.
not only taking care of me, but also looking into the medical
In
aspects, the
fact,
decision
here
making.
here I'll just tell. I spoke with your daughter also, Laya, and I spoke with Preeti ma'am. And do you know one thing? What both of them told that it was kind of you who was in the background and who was basically guiding them. So it is, yes, they were doing that decision making to shift you and do the things, but it was basically that you have imbibed into them that this is what needs to be done in this situation, and that's what they kind of followed it. So even all credit goes to you and your upbringing, your discipline. And another thing also, what I believed was the network that you have.
I am
Uh,
blessed to have a wonderful set of friends right from
yes, yes.
school days.
Those friends and network,
And
that's what actually helped you. It's not easy to get a ECMO machine at that time, get a air ambulance at that time, and more importantly, coming out of that situation, it's the prayer that everyone was doing.
I was
Even
actually
we
totally
prayed for
overwhelmed.
you.
I was I was on a ventilator for almost 3 months,
Yes.
and the funny thing is, I don't remember anything except for the last 2 or 3 days before I was discharged from Care Hospital, Hyderabad. I was living in a totally different world. I was living I mean, imagining so many things. I was in so many weird situations. All these were my imaginations, nothing related to the reality. But one, I think that will take up more than an episode if I start into that. But I had lots of experiences.
You can tell,
And the
no problem.
thing which stood out was during most of these things, I was in a helpless condition and things were happening around me. Some weird things. Once I was in the Himalayas, once I was somewhere so hundreds of years back, or somewhere else. So many situations are running in my
In fact,
mind.
those hallucinations are a common thing when we are kind of in we are kind of sedated basically
Okay,
because
I
we are in
assume
the
so.
on ventilator. We are kind of sedated, and the sedative medicines that is given, they cause the hallucinations actually.
One thing which I remember very clearly is almost on 4 or 5 occasions, I could see myself like dying and almost taking my last breath. And in one situation, I could even recollect the doctor declaring me dead, somebody wrapping me up, all those things. But the thing which stood out was in all the situations, I was like totally calm and totally accepting the situation. Okay, this is happening. I am dying. Okay, this is my last minute.
So how
No
did you?
anger, no regret, no frustration.
So when you got your senses back in the last few days, what was your first thing that came into your mind?
Uh, I don't know how to put it because I did not realize what I had been through. Like I said, and I knew I was very fortunate to be alive, definitely. And I was totally immobile. I had some post-COVID complications, which the hospital did not know at the time of my discharge. So when I went to rehab, then there we realized I couldn't move my arms, I couldn't move my legs. There were, I mean, uh,
Calcification of all your
calcification.
joints.
And this myositis ossificans,
Yeah, yeah.
and it was very extensive in almost all my major joints. So because of that, I couldn't, because all the muscles around my joints turned into bone. I did not have any movement. So it took me almost 2 years and 6 surgeries before I could
A lot of
actually
physiotherapy,
walk.
a lot
Of
of
course,
physiotherapy.
physiotherapy. I continue physiotherapy
And
even
I
now.
believe it's your sportsmanship, it's your mental strength that has basically brought you back.
At that time, uh, I think I was probably the fittest in my life. I used to do meditation, pranayama, yoga in the morning. We had a trainer coming for my gym sessions in the evening, and I had a very healthy lifestyle, and probably I was the fittest, and probably that saved me. I lost almost 25 to 27 kgs
Cages.
of weight, and probably because I had that much mass, I could afford to lose and then come back. And of course, Preeti, my son Suraj, my daughter Laya. We could not ask for help from anybody else. You can't call other family members because it is the peak COVID time. My mother and brother, they were helping me, but physically they could not be in the hospital. And if everything fell on Preeti and the kids, and they managed it uh, wonderfully.
Yeah, yeah. I remember those time. I was also like, I was every 10 days, I used to send a message to Mr. Prabal Manti and ask how is Neeraj's health.
Mr. Prabal,
Uh,
Mr. Rai, wonderful friends. I honestly believe without a family like mine and without support from friends, it is next to impossible to come out of a situation like the one I faced. Bharat Reddy, Dr. Manjula in Hyderabad, Dr. Pavan, the
Pawan.
doctor who treated me. I mean,
Even your, actually, you forgot to mention about your interests like carom and ghazals. From that, the friends also, they also, in fact, Sandeep was telling a lot of your, their carom fraternity was also completely active when you were ill, and they were kind of every day they were trying to find out and what was all the illness. I think Dr. Pawan also plays
yes,
carom.
yes.
Yes, yes, he told me that about him, and it's like again, it's your overall personality and yeah, how you have made your friends, you have built up your relationship, your honesty about your life that has actually helped you. So before we end, uh, I would like to ask like this near-death experience with COVID-19, has it changed your perspective towards life?
I know that I am been extremely fortunate, and I know there have been so many people involved in helping me. I think I will live the rest of my life in gratitude to all those people who have been who helped me through this situation. And the other thing is, whenever you look at the routine things in life or problems coming up in life, it looks so trivial compared to what we've been through. So it becomes very easy to handle any problem.
And what is the most important bucket list that you have in the coming days?
Bucket list. Uh, I want to read a lot of books. I want to listen to a lot of podcasts. I want to travel a lot, especially to places of architectural importance and to many temples which I am due to visit. And I want to have the best facilities, best infrastructure, best teachers for the school. And finally, I want to be able to conduct a proper professional carom league which will benefit the game and millions of players in our country.
Thank you, sir. Before we end our today's episode, which I would like to call as Beyond the Boards by Neeraj Sampati, and I would like to thank you for watching it, and do subscribe to our podcast, The Healing Monk. Thank you very much.
रुख पे बिखरी है जुल्फें सवारो, रुख पे बिखरी है जुल्फें सवारो।